In this video, I want to slow it down and just kind of talk to you directly. See, if you've ever said to yourself, I know what I should be doing, I just can't seem to stay consistent, then this message is definitely going to be one for you. Because inconsistency, it's rarely a motivation problem and it's rarely a knowledge problem. It's almost always a core issue. See, most people are trying to live strong lives on weak internal foundations. So what they do is they try to push harder, they add more, they chase discipline. But without a strong core, that effort leaks. And eventually, everything just feels heavier than it should. That's why this step exists in the resilient method. Strengthen your core. Because real strength, it's not about intensity. It's not about random bursts of effort. It's not about how hard you push when you're motivated. No, see, here's the truth that most people miss. Strength equals daily alignment, not just random effort. Random effort looks productive. It does. But alignment, that creates stability. And stability is what creates resilience. Your core is the internal system that holds you steady when motivation fades or when stress increases. Other things too, like life becomes unpredictable and discipline's tested, right? If your core is weak, you feel scattered. And if your core is strong, you feel grounded. Big contrast there. And your core, it's not complicated. It's built on 3 pillars. No trends, no hacks, no hype. It's basic. But we have to know it to understand it. So the 3 pillars that must work together are physical health, mental resilience, and values alignment. When one pillar is ignored, the entire structure weakens. They all play off of each other. So they're crucial to have together. But let's start with the first pillar, physical health. Your health fuels clarity. This isn't an option, it's a reality. And so we really have to pay attention to it. Like if your body is exhausted, you're thinking it becomes cloudy, you know, this is an issue. And such as your nervous system, if that becomes overloaded, what happens is your emotions take control. And then when your energy is low, your discipline becomes fragile. You can't out-mindset a neglected body. And yet, this is where most people try to cut corners, and I don't understand. They want clarity without sleep, they want focus without movement, and they want discipline without recovery. Well, it doesn't work. A depleted body creates a noisy mind. So strengthening your core means restoring physical discipline. Not extremes, not punishment, not perfection. It's just consistency. Your body doesn't need to be punished, it needs to be led. And so physical health, it's not about looking a certain way, like some would want you to think. It's about creating a stable platform for your life. See, when your physical health is supported, this is what happens. Things like your patience increases, your emotional regulation improves, your decision-making becomes clearer. See, can you see how this is foundational? Okay, let's move to the second pillar, because this plays off of the first one, of course. Mental resilience. Your mindset fuels your direction. See, mental resilience is your ability to stay grounded when life applies pressure, right? That's the ability to pause instead of react, to respond instead of explode, to stay clear when things feel uncertain. Without mental resilience, you know, small problems, they feel overwhelming. And then this discomfort, it turns into avoidance, and then the stress turns into impulsive decisions. Kind of like a snowball effect, really. And this is also where bandwagon thinking quietly wrecks people. You know, jumping from idea to idea, adopting other people's beliefs, borrowing strategies without understanding yourself first. Mental noise, it creates mental fatigue. But a resilient mind, it isn't loud, it's stable. Mental resilience is built through this intentional practice. Not just the motivation, but putting things in motion in practice. Practices like thought awareness, emotional regulation, you have reflection, stillness, right? Repetition. This is how you stop being pulled in every direction. This is how you stop living reactively. And now the third pillar. And this one matters more than most people realize. And it's values alignment. See, your values are going to fuel your identity. This is the pillar people avoid because in this one, it requires honesty. If you don't clearly define your values, you will live by the standards of others, of the world. You'll chase goals that aren't yours. You'll measure success by comparison. You'll feel busy, but you'll just be disconnected. And living by the standards of others, it creates this internal conflict. And this internal conflict, it just destroys your consistency. It heads you off the path, and you don't even get a chance to try to fight and do something. And you can't sustain discipline when you're fighting yourself. See, values alignment answers one question: how does how I live match who I'm becoming? See, when your values are clear, then your decisions simplify, and your discipline feels lighter, and your identity even becomes grounded because you start to know who you are. This is where strength becomes sustainable. But we got to talk about the real danger, because there's dangers. And those are the chaos-driven habits. See, chaos-driven habits, they don't always look chaotic. They look like this. They look like no physical structure, inconsistent routines, reactive emotional patterns. And what you're doing is you're living by urgency instead of intention, letting these outside pressures dictate your inside direction. And chaos isn't created by doing nothing. Chaos is created by doing things, but without alignment. And that chaos quietly drains your energy. But not just your energy, also your clarity and your confidence. That's why strengthening your core isn't about trying harder. It's about designing your foundation. So let's make this practical. This is where you build your personal 3-pillar core plan. It's not goals. It's not a wish list. This is your core non-negotiable. And so let's go pillar by pillar. First, you have your physical non-negotiables. Ask yourself, what does my body need consistently? Not occasionally, consistently to function well. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be extreme. It just has to be what I said, consistent. This might look like daily movement, getting up, going for a walk, having sleep boundaries for yourself, being in bed at a certain time, making sure you're staying hydrated, giving your body what it needs, nutrition basics, right? Eating correctly, recovery time. But what you need to do is you need to pick 1 to 3 of these things. And these are your commitments. They're not your preferences. You have to do them. And then second, we move into mental non-negotiables. So here, you ask yourself, what practices keep my mind clear, grounded, and resilient? And this might include, daily reflection, morning stillness, thought check-ins. Like for me, I get up and I read my Bible every morning. I do a devotion. But it's other things too, like reduce mental noise, like turn the TV off. And then there's intentional learning. Read books, listen to books. See, mental resilience is built through repetition, not inspiration. And then third is we have our values non-negotiables. And here you ask yourself, what behaviors reflect who I'm becoming? Like even when no one's watching. And this could be like integrity in small decisions, keeping commitments, protecting your boundaries, alignment between words and actions. Are you saying and doing what you say you're going to do? Values aren't what you believe, they're what you live. See, when these 3 pillars align, physical, mental, and values, something shifts. You stop chasing discipline, right? You stop relying on the motivation, and you stop feeling scattered. You become steady. That's why this is important. That's real strength. Quiet, grounded, sustainable. And when your core is strong, resilience isn't something you access only when life gets hard. No, it becomes how you live. It's the new you. See, in the next step, we're going to talk about what drains this strength and silently pulls you out of alignment. But for now, this is your work. Not to do more, but to align better. So strengthen your core. And don't forget to subscribe and like, hit the little bell notification to be able to stay tuned for the next part of the Resilient Method. I'm Coach Bill. I'll see you on the next one.